How are private troubles and public issues related? Think, for example, of aircraft noise. Is it possible that decisions to alleviate noise annoyance or to reduce noise annoyance actually trigger people's attention and trigger people's annoyance? To investigate this, I looked at two different sites, Amsterdam and Zurich, to find out if policy is different and if people's experience is related to those differences. So I'm fascinated by, on the one hand, political decisions and policy making and why some issues get attention while others do not get attention. And at the same time, I want to know how this affects everyday life of common people. This means I want to know how what you and I feel, experience and do with problems in everyday life, how that relates to public debates, policies and political decisions around such diverse issues as aircraft noise, mental health or health risks. It tackles the question of political relevance, what are issues politicians should take up, and it asks questions about our everyday life, what we think are problems in need of attention. So, do citizens' problems enter the political arena, or is it the other way around? That political agendas and policy making actually influence you and me and what we think and experience as legitimate problems and how we deal with those problems. In our research on aircraft noise annoyance and some other studies, we see indeed that what people feel and think is problematic is very much influenced by political decisions and policy making. Take the example of aircraft noise. We can show that many complaints and protests are actually triggered by complaint agencies and by political opportunities. Even large-scale protest is very moderate in its demands. Instead of asking for radical alternatives, people often only demand very slight reforms. So it seems that there is a very strong top-down effect of public issues on private troubles. So, is it just a top-down relation between public issues and private problems? No. Our research also shows strong bottom-up effects. We see how people with health complaints, for example, try to get recognition and help for their problems. But they rephrase their demands to make them acceptable to policymakers and to enter the political arena. So, for example, we studied people who suffer from electromagnetic fields from mobile phones, for example. And we see how they try to mimic scientific practice and try to prove to science and politicians that they actually have health complaints. We have also found that policymakers and stakeholders in industry are very much aware of the relation between private troubles and public issues. And they have found many ways to avoid conflict and depoliticize issues. Take the example of mobile phone operators. They place antennas in neighborhoods with little or no political power because they expect no protests to occur there. To conclude, we all know there is a huge public debate about the alleged gap between citizens and policymakers. Well, our research shows that there is a very strong overlap and relation between what citizens think and feel and what policymakers want to see to happen. Maybe because there is such a strong relation that the remaining differences between citizens and policymakers is felt to be so unacceptable.